So I had saw this post by the Imagination Podcast. School photos are taken for the purpose of cataloging for the government. A lot of programs in MK Ultra use things like Dr. Seuss books and a lot of favorite children's books, like the Hargreaves books. A lot of famous children's books were written by Freemasons for the purpose of mind control programming. And I'm gonna put this post in the description if I can remember where it was, but this made me think about Diary of a Wimpy Kid especially, because Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the whole point of that book is obviously to normalize family dysfunction, especially when it revolves around having a Jezebelic mom or multiple Jezebelic women in the family, and a Jezebelic dad or Ahab dad. I honestly think that Diary of a Wimpy Kid should be titled Diary of an Emasculated Boy or Diary of a Emasculated Man. The book consists of a lot of usual things that go down in a dysfunctional family. And while there's no straight up physical abuse, there's obviously a lot of psychological abuse going on and manipulation. The dad's the Ahab that goes along with whatever the mom and the women in the family say. A couple other men that are mentioned in the book are also Ahabs. And they're just like codependents who are chasing toxic women due to their own trauma. Like, there was this one dude, he was like an uncle or something. He was trying to become an uncle, I think. And he was pretty much fighting to get in a relationship with this one aunt, but the grandma, who really ran the toxic family system, would make him clean her house and stuff to try to earn the marriage. And then there's this thing the grandma would do in one of the books, I think it was The Hot Mess, that one. And she would cut out the boyfriends out of the family pictures, and they couldn't be in the family pictures until they got married, but if they got divorced, she would go through all the family pictures and cut them out, and that's doing the most. Then there's the family newsletter, which makes me think back to something that I think maybe Aleister Crowley said, which is that everybody's a star. Maybe that was Antoine LaVey. And I mean, anointed people do have stars, some have bigger ones than others, but everybody definitely isn't a star. And as a side note, the star is of course the highest symbol in the occult. But it's pride behind this. Not just pride, but I don't know, people just feeling like they should be the attraction or an influencer. I don't even know how to really put it. But that's what it's like, because who in the world has family newsletters? And then there was the common trope, which is really common in sitcoms, especially revolving around Caucasian people, where there's a family recipe that people are trying to unalive each other over, and people are pretty much waiting for the Jezebelic grandma to die and pass away just to get the family recipe. In fact, no, when I got to the end of the Hot Mess book, what people found out, okay, wait a minute, no, because I'm just now remembering this. I have to throw this in here. I'm going to be really all over the place. I should go ahead and say that. But it's so the grandma told her daughters to never go to this restaurant. I think it was called Smiley's, but I could be really, really wrong. But she always told her daughters never go to this restaurant. They don't care about having real good home cooked meals. It was some bull crap. Can't really remember. And eventually, the daughters ended up finally going there. And they found out, no, they tasted the meatballs at the restaurant. And they were these taste just like grandma's meatballs. And then they were they must have stole her recipe. And eventually they found out that grandma didn't actually make her meatballs. She actually bought them from the place. And would even secretly steal them, I think. And she would pretend it was her recipe that she made herself. And the thing is, Jezebelic abusers make some of the most minor bullcrap catastrophic situations when it really doesn't even matter. They use manipulation, which is witchcraft. It's emotional witchcraft, just how all abuse is trauma-based mind control, which is also witchcraft. they use that and they like manipulate situations to try to make them go their way or the demon's way, because usually most of the things that they do don't really benefit them, especially not in the end. I mean, there definitely are some like rich Jezebelic abusers that really have something going for them, at least for like worldly standards and the false sense of success and materialism. But overall, a lot of them, especially like the lower level ones that are doing trauma-based mind control on the individual level, they commonly don't really have much going for them. This even goes back to something I say all the time, which is that the point of sitcoms was to normalize family dysfunction and the destruction of the family system. Honestly, sitcoms even remind me, I was trying to kill a spider, but sitcoms even remind me of like how religious organizations also have played a big role in destroying the family system and normalizing domestic violence and child abuse. It's like it all goes hand in hand, because I mean, even in sitcoms you notice that the parents are commonly pretty stupid. The dad is stupid, or maybe he's not even there, and the kid's the only one that actually knows something. And sometimes there's also a lot of like ageist tropes, especially when it comes to teenagers. People love to like push these weird ageist teenager tropes that I talk about pretty often, which are honestly made by pedophiles to make it seem like teenagers are just like emotional and they just want to date people. All this stuff is made by pedophiles, to be honest. But anyways, there's also the side thing, which I seen in I think it was the book The Third Will, and I noticed that the mom really had this like idea in her head where she really wanted to force her kids, even before they were born, to become like geniuses. So she did something that I actually seen in a post. In fact, I think I can edit it in. I'm not gonna lie though, people's reaction to this is really interesting. And this reminds me of something I have talked about before and want to talk about again, which is that people are so disconnected and so upset about the fact that they even ended up having kids and didn't want kids in the first place, that they don't even talk to their kids. People talk to like their pets and plants more than they talk to their kids, but that's a whole nother video. And then when the kids can't talk, or they talk late, or like they have a speech impairment or something, they get told they have a quote-unquote learning disability and an issue. But it's whatever though. So, to get back to the point, I don't remember what the mom's name is, I'm not even gonna lie, but the mom of the Diary of the Wimpy Kid main character did this same thing, and it was shown in the Third Will book, which I think was like one of the first couple books, but I could be kind of wrong. So she would like talk to the baby. She would like put some headphones on her stomach and like talk into a mic, and I mean that's whatever. And also she would like play classical music to try to like make him become a classical music genius. She tried to make him skip pre-K, which honestly, that was the first time I ever heard somebody consider pre-K a grade. I really just thought that pre-K was just like the equivalent of going to daycare. And you either like go to daycare or you don't, and then you go to kindergarten. But she did all that, and then she was like upset because, or well, not even really just upset, she tried to ignore the fact that the teachers kept saying that he was really behind and like he couldn't even do some of the like motor tests that other people his age could do and even younger. And he was saying he learned how to crawl late and different things like that. And pretty much his mom wanted to like create prodigies. And it's really interesting because I've talked about before how it seems like, well, I don't believe in all this label stuff really. People who could get the quote-unquote autism label are more likely to, of course, be anointed or prophetic, and they're also more likely to end up with a different types of what I call off branches of CPTSD. So like PDs, which is personality disorders, and quote-unquote schizophrenia and different things like that, which of course is just another form of splits from trauma. So CPTSD, PTSD. Like, the mom even wants to be a type of prodigy herself. Like, she won't listen to anything her husband says, her Ahab husband. He goes on with whatever she says, and she'll, like, tell him and the rest of the family what they're gonna do, and she'll tell everybody what they're gonna do, how they're gonna do, what type of vacation they should go on, what type of, like, family, quote-unquote, fun they should have. And it's like, other people want to just go camping or go to the lake, but she wants to make everything about education and bull crap, really. She wants to make everything like a school lesson, like she's a teacher or something. Like, she even pulled something in one of the books. I think, yeah, it was the Hot Mess book that sounded like something that one of my abusers would have pulled. They went to a restaurant, and her baby had drew on the tablecloth, and the restaurant said that she had to pay for it, and she was like, if I have to pay for it, it's mine. And so she literally took the tablecloth and walked out the restaurant. And people who know, you know that's definitely something that a Jezebelic parent, especially a Jezebelic mom, would do. But yeah, I would have been so embarrassed. And I feel like I don't know, it just sounds like something I totally had happened to me before. Like something close to that. It just sounds so familiar. And of course, a lot of Jezebelic people will say the baby should have just like got a whooping. But let's be realistic. People raise their kids to act like them. And I mean, still a baby is a baby, but the baby definitely is just like the mom, and it makes sense. And then, of course, there's the people that are trying to, like, always say that Greg Heffley is a sociopath, but it's like, people, especially, like, mental health system, cash for kids system staff, they're already used to being flying monkeys and enablers to abusers. Not to mention, like, they make up these labels like psychopath, but they are the psychopaths they talk about. But anyways, they're so, like, used to labeling off the kid victims as the ones with the quote-unquote problems that they, of course, will ignore the fact that Greg Heffley is just a product of his environment and his family. Like, something that I noticed throughout the books, the ones that I've recently read, is that he wants to have, like, this usual false sense of success and fame and power. He wants to be rich. He wants to, like, be able to tell people what to do. And people even use that against him, especially, like, with some of the mind games he plays with his friend, the Rowley dude, who, while he has a, like, healthy family system, they obviously have never taught him what type of people to avoid. And he also doesn't have any other friends, so he just falls into this situation, and it's kind of like a codependent to it, but that's kind of a side thing. But anyways, like, I remember at one point, he made up this lie that, can't remember what it was, but he told his friend Rowley that something was like a new form of currency and it was valuable when it really wasn't. And so he was able to, like, trick Rowley into giving him stuff for it and things like that. And he said that it was, quote unquote, him testing, making a new currency. And it's like, I understand people see a problem with him, like, lying like this, but the thing is, when you're really brainwashed due to your own trauma and you're just, like, also maybe really young, I mean, most people never break out of this mindset, but, like, you don't really see anything wrong with a lot of these things that you may do to other people. It reminds me of, like, this, I don't know, concept that I found out about or pieced together when I was in elementary, and it's that being ignorant makes you evil because you do a lot of things that you don't see anything wrong with. But anyways, he just wants to be powerful like other people around him. Like, in one of the books, he talks about how, like, it's unfortunate that you can't pick your family and that you just have to, like, listen to adults, but the adults have to listen to people who are above them, which are people like the grandma, the higher ranking Jezebels. And, like, pretty much they just do a whole bunch of things to you that they shouldn't. They don't treat you right. And this is why he wants to have power and fame, because he wants to be able to call the shots instead of having people torture him and tell him what he should do, how, when there are people that aren't even, like, they're pretty much just abusive people pushing you around. And it's like, why is the kid the psychopath or quote-unquote sociopath for being like everybody else around them? He's just trying to find a way to be able to survive in society. And that's what a lot of these like issues that people talk about now, like quote unquote narcissism, are about. Defense mechanisms, splits, MPDs, trauma, and trying to just get by. Like, I notice a lot of people with the I'm grown complex, well, not even a lot of people, everybody with the I'm grown complex that runs around talking about respecting your elders, they're Jezebelic, and they have what people now like to call quote unquote narcissism. And the I'm grown complex revolves around somebody who went through hell, has cognitive dissonance, has Stockholm syndrome. They hold their abusers who mess them up in the highest esteem. Is commonly a single mom. It could be a dad too. Then they look up to these different rappers and other people because they want like a parent type figure to look up to, which may even be younger than they are, who's also been through trauma-based mind control. And so now they have this idea that now that they're quote unquote grown, they can do the same things that happen to them to younger people and use them as emotional punching bags and essay slaves and stuff like that. This post also makes me think about the fact that nursery rhymes are all made by witches, and they also revolve around trauma-based mind control. It even makes me think about how like Beethoven, other composers, their music was made to help hypnotize people for trauma-based mind control and get them into like a trance. Also makes me think about Dr. Dre. Oh yeah, and like in one of the books, I think this was still the Hot Mess book, the grandma sent them on a family, the grandma sent the aunts and some of the uncles or wannabe uncles and the kids on a family vacation. And she said that she wanted them to go because she went there when she was younger. In fact, no, that's not what happened. I think she said she went there when she was younger. Greg's mom said that they should go to the place that their grandma went to when she was younger, which is some island or something. And so they all went, even though nobody wanted to go, and the family didn't even get along, and they fought and argued all day. A lot of things happened, and eventually, to make a long story short, the mom ended up talking them into going to the grandma's house and breaking into her house to check on her, even though the security guard told them that like they couldn't come over because quote unquote she was worried. They caught the grandma having a party at the retirement home because the grandma admitted that she really just wanted them to like go somewhere else, and she didn't want them to be around her on her birthday because she didn't want to deal with all their toxicity and arguing and drama, and that's why she sent them on the vacation. And it's like, people like this, abusers like this, will really do some stuff like that. And a lot of it really goes back to the whole I'm grown, you're a child thing, don't talk back. Because they couldn't talk back, instead of telling you how they really feel and what they really want, they'll play all these games with you. This is something that I even have to like unlearn, like being scared to really say how I feel. And it's still kind of funny though, because people still claim that I'm like rude and disrespectful and stuff, which is really bullcrap. The people who say that to me are typically abusive people who are older than me and feel like they like should be able to run all over me. But I still feel like to a certain extent I'm not upfront enough. But that's kind of like a side thing. We're not gonna like go into that rant, but it's definitely different levels to it. I could like, I don't know, maybe be scared to like ask someone for something or like ask someone a certain question. I mean, I have really poor social skills in general, but I'm not gonna go into that. Getting back to the point though, going through this type of abuse really does like alter your sense of self, what you're supposed to like develop anyways, because really before you're born and sent through the astral plane to earth from heaven, you know who you are, you know what you're supposed to do. But then you get your free will, and not even just the free will thing, you have to relearn who you are, just like how Jesus had to do, and he started to do when he was like a little under 12. Which Mary and Joseph would get mad at him for and tell him that like he shouldn't be running away to like go to the synagogues and stuff. He started to read the books and find out who he was and remember who he was in his true calling. Just like how many Yashirel are waking up, also due to dreams, but that's also a side thing I had to throw in. But anywho, you're supposed to relearn who you are. Most people never end up doing this, or they never meet their full potential due to many different reasons. Like the ancient Toltecs call it the dream of the planet, I call it child abuse is a new world order, and the point of trauma is mind control. It's supposed to split and fracture you, drive you crazy, make you end up unalive before your time, or just like split you into the false self, where you're in the false self so deeply that you can't even remember who you are. You become reprobate, like a lot of these high-ranking Jezebels, because of course there's lower-ranking Jezebels that, like, they're not too far gone, they still have some empathy, stuff like that,